Morning, Marcia. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day. Hey, Yanko. How are you? Hey, Joe. Morning, Adams. Morning, everyone. So some of you that were yesterday there on the... let me get rid of this. Yeah, having a good one, Marcia, and appreciate you boosting the Discord. Much appreciated for the support. So for everyone that was there on the Discord stream last night, what did I say yesterday when we were consolidating here? I had said the likelihood is that this area, the pullback was complete and we would see a new high form. And that's exactly what happened. So if we go into the 15-minute time frame, morning, Raziel. That's exactly what happened yesterday. You know, we had a breaker structure here yesterday. Now, having that breaker structure, what do we see? We see the likelihood of where we can see price pulling back to is back into this demand zone, which is unmitigated. We have relative equal lows here with liquidity. We have an area of imbalance for price to come down and mitigate before we see the next push to the top side. But even the push to the top side, you want to be cautious because we are so extended, just constantly higher highs, higher lows. At some point, price is going to shift bearish and this trend is going to shift. So even when price gets down here, if it does, we want to trade that with caution. Now, you probably see here, like, I took a slightly risky entry this morning here, but you can see my stop loss is at break even purely for that purpose. And the only reason I took that entry was because we had a breaker structure to the top side, and I was expecting price from this point to continue its pullback down over here, and the last area of supply we had was this gap area over here. Everything above this is messy. We do have an extreme supply, but I didn't really expect price to come up there. But because we are in the middle of that range, and we're looking to fulfill that pullback, I was like, right, I'll take a trade here, have my stops pretty tight above this supply zone, and then as we moved into some profits, I've not taken anything off the table, and I'm not going to. I will at this point here, if price comes down to here, or otherwise it's risk free. I understand it's a higher risk than normal trade because we've not really formed any structure like this for me to trade back into. And the way I saw this also was, again, like I was explaining to some of you guys yesterday, you know, like this pullback here, the way I would see pullback based off of that drop is not a sufficient enough pullback for it to be classified as a pullback. So lots of people, when they see the break above this, they'll probably think, oh, we've had some sort of a change of character, or price is going to sell off from this supply zone. But that wasn't the case, because the way I saw this is just induced liquidity. This pullback has no real there's no real valid strength behind it, because I don't see this as a breaker structure to the downside. All this is part of one move. This was the pullback. So this is just an inducement to get early sellers into the market, and this was the last supply zone that was of clear significance with volume here. So I was like, right, okay, as price started to bounce into this 50% retracement area of the GAN box, I took a short here, knowing full well price could still continue deeper before we come down. Hence why I moved my stop loss to break even. You know, so understanding when you're getting involved in stuff is super important. And then why would I look to scale out of some of my position here? Because I understand I'm trading that internal structure, and we've not really formed any real pullback. If we were to break, come down, and so we could react from this and continue higher. But if we were to come down and break this with some nice momentum, then I would hold it, because now there's my high, there's my low, that's a valid pullback. And then if we get a break here, I'm no longer expecting that high to get broken, and then we can continue moving the market down. And why am I expecting it to come down? Because like I said, we had a breaker structure, so we have our swing low here, and we currently have our swing high here, and we have our perfect demand zone with that area of imbalance just over here, and we have some nice liquidity resting below these lows here. So it's not just, oh, I'm just trading it for the sake of it. There's a logical reason for price to come down here before we see some buying pressure coming in. So that's my view on gold. So see if this plays out, great. If it doesn't, then it'll stop me out of break even, and then my next trade on gold will just be looking for buyers down here, down within this region. You know, I'll be waiting for price to come into like 1974, and then look for some bullish momentum from 1974 to start trading it back up. Simple. Remember guys, if there's any pairs you want me to have a look at, feel free to let me know. Let's go through some of the. So AU, we saw a nice bullish shift on AU. You could see, and I'm guessing this would have been to some news on AU. I think we had unemployment, yeah, and that was strong last night. So the news was pretty strong. Unemployment rate was lower than expected at 3.5%, and unemployment change was 32.6k. The forecast was 15.4. So strong unemployment numbers caused this rally above. But again, you know, still pretty weak, very weak closure above this zone, this area here. So we could see downside momentum from this point back down into here to mitigate this area. But remember, one thing we always have to remember is, irrespective of areas that we mark out, price has, the pullback is virtually complete. We're in that area of discount. So at any point, if price starts to shift bullish, it's an expectation. Euro AUD, yeah, sure, Joe, I'll have a look at that for you. So if price starts to shift bullish from any points within this area, it's absolutely valid. Don't fight against it. Don't feel like, oh, it has to come down here. No, price doesn't have to. Price doesn't have to do anything. We go with market structure. And right now, price has broken previous highs and we've shifted bullish. So if we currently look at where price is, look at the low to the high, look what sits here perfectly. This area of demand. So now I'm no longer looking for price to come down into these lows. It might do, but the area is looking for buyers from this point here. Euro AUD, let's go into Euro AUD. So Euro AUD is in a bit of a range. I remember, Joe, I think I remember we covered this. And what did I say to you? I said to you last, when we had that discussion, that we never saw a break of these lows on the 4 hour when price was coming here. Like the lower time frame. Hey DV. The lower time frame, yes, we saw a marginal break here, but the higher time frame, we never saw a clean break on that 4 hour time frame here. So I said, you know, we need to be very cautious because we never broke on the 4 hour here. Pullbacks into this region are pretty, you know, non-existent. So when we look at, and also what I had mentioned as well is here, this was a very minor weak break as well of this previous low here. You know, we fractionally broke it, came up into supply, back into demand, and then price started to push up. So right now, you know, where are we sitting? Well, we are still bullish on this pair. We can see here, price came down and then immediately we started to pull back to the top side on this. And again, you could see price can start to pull back at any point. Price mitigated equilibrium from this swing, and then where did it react from? It reacted from this area of demand. Look at that 50% closure into this, and then we started to rally to the top side. So the daily pullback was complete here. We shifted bullish on the 4H. You can see we had this breakdown, and then we had this break above on the 4 hour. So I am expecting price to shift bearish, but what I would like to see is to facilitate this 4 hour pullback and fill out some of these areas of imbalance. What we need to see is some of these lows failing. We need price to come down and do this. Like if we can get a clean break below this, retest area of supply, we can then look to short. But you want to see some clean, decisive sell-off pressure on the higher time frame. But if we just preemptively look at this, where can we come down to if it does shift? You've got perfect areas of demand with imbalance sitting here for price to pull back into before we see the next move. But we do need that structural shift to happen here. Otherwise, if that doesn't happen, then the other likelihood is just wait for price to mitigate this demand and continue trading it back to the top side. You know, because if the daily pullback is complete, where's our daily high? Our daily high is here, and the likelihood is price might just continue pushing higher until it breaks above the previous high at 1.67500. If we mark this low to here to the high, potentially the 50%, you know, we were so close to tapping into that 50%. So I would probably be more on the buy side in this demand, but you'd want lower time frame shift. If price doesn't hold up here on the lower time frame and we get a break of this, then I'll be looking for shorts. So that's the two views that I'll have on Euro AUD. Hey Mills, long time mate, hope you're well. Remember everyone, smash that like button if you don't mind. So that's AU we spoke about. Let's have a look at what DXY is doing. So DXY again, we had this expansion where we had a bit of a retracement. Like I said, my view is for DXY to just continue some structure to the upside like this until it reaches 101.300 region. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what price does. You know, this is a 4 hour demand. We could break below this and we could see a push up from 99,370 where we have this weekly demand zone. You know, this doji candle here. We could see price coming in a bit deeper here. So we'll need to wait and see what we get. We do have unemployment claims today at 1:30. So we'll wait and see what that brings. AUD CAD, what do we have on AUD CAD? Not much, pretty messy. So CAD CHF is looking good. There could be buys from this demand zone here up into this supply. In order to kind of be longer term bullish, like I said, I would like to see a sweep, a break above this, a clean break above this. Well, we have had this. This area could actually be pretty nice if it holds up, because everything below is pretty much mitigated. We do have on the 30-minute an extreme demand zone down here, which I would much prefer price pulling into the extreme. So if we look at this, Yeah, I would much prefer actually price doing something like this, coming back into this area. And buyers down from like 0.64950 look good. Personally. Because the problem is, our swing is the current low to the current high. Looking at buying above here, this is probably at 50% if we're lucky. And I don't like buying in those regions, especially when I can see an imbalance down here and a demand zone that's unmitigated. I would much prefer for price to come back down towards the discounted zone for me to have a much better risk to reward. So we'll wait and see if price gets there. So Euro CAD, so price is breaking through this area of demand, which is interesting. It's not broken through yet, it's still within that 4 hour. Well, let's actually tighten this up a bit. Yeah, we had the reaction off the 50% and then we sold off. So interesting to see what price does here. Yes, I am still looking to short, but I wanted to short from this unmitigated supply zone up over here, which price hasn't approached yet. So wait and see if this demand zone holds. If it doesn't, if price breaks through this, then a pullback into this supply zone to continue shorting is probably what I'll kind of look at, because I would expect this strong demand zone to hold to cause the next push to the top side. But if we don't, then we'll just wait and see. Let's see, is gold gonna give me what I was looking for? We'll come back to it. Let's see Euro USD. And Euro USD, we had a perfect pullback into supply and we started to react. But like I said yesterday, I'm personally waiting for price to come into this region here. You know, we have Asian range now. We swept liquidity from Asian lows, and we could, you know, we have had a reaction from this point, but remember, we had this big push, we've come down, we could see a tap into there, and then we could see aggressive sell-off. So Euro USD would be something like this for me, personally. Swept the lows, sweep the highs, tap that unmitigated supply. This is the high that needs to be protected anyway, so we could come to this extreme, sweep all the Asian range, and then look to target the lows and continue the pullback. GBP CAD. So pound is breaking through. We had an initial reaction off of this. Like I said, I'm expecting pretty strong downside from this point because this is a weekly supply zone. We have this daily area of demand down in these lows. But again, in order for me to get involved in shorting this, I would need price to come back up into 1.7 to 678 kind of region, or 1.73. There's just no getting involved. Originally, when price broke this low here, I was expecting a retrace. I was waiting for a retracement to get involved. But again, the markets don't always give us what we're looking for. So at that point, we just got to be patient. I always say to people all the time, you know, trading is number one about preserving your capital. And number two is making money. If you cannot preserve your capital in trading, you're not going to have money to trade. you know, and the setups we always want to take are like quality setups. And if you are taking setups that are slightly, you know, they're still aligned with your overall rules and your thought process, but they're slightly risky, then you have to manage it in that manner. You know, like I said, I explained the reason why I took gold over here, and I explained why I moved my stop loss to break even. So, you know, so I understand when I'm getting in, where I'm getting involved, what the market structure is telling me at that point in time. So it's super, super important for you to manage your risk based on your, you know, and I've not gone in with my full risk percentage that I would trade with this. It's half risk, and I moved my stop loss to break even pretty soon, purely because of what I spoke about earlier. So all of these things make a significant difference. Why? Because I want to preserve my capital. Like, I could not win a trade today but not lose any money, and that's a winning situation as well, because I know the next winning trade is just around the corner. So you have to be super, super disciplined when you're trading. So GJ, there's nothing at the moment. We currently have, so again, I explained yesterday, there's our 15-minute high, there's our 15-minute low. Like, shorts for me will be up in this area of supply that aligns with the premium zone. But currently we have our internal structure, which is the lower high, lower low. We can perfectly see price came back into that area of premium, and then we started to sell off. But what are we doing? You know, potentially if price holds this area here now, you know, we're within the forecasting that potential reversal. Because we have had a 15-minute breaker structure, I'm expecting the internal structure at some point to go bullish. Now, how would I start trading this back up? The last in this pullback we had was lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So if we can maintain within this discounted zone and shift above and do this, then we've internally shifted bullish. Then we can start to trade this back up into at least 1.81, and then even further up into 181,400. You know, so that is definitely a possibility. And then once price gets back up into that region, we could short. Or if you don't want to buy, you absolutely don't have to. But shorts, if you're looking to short GJ, personally, I would not be looking to short anywhere here. I would only short when price taps into that significant higher time frame supply, and then I'll be looking to take price. Target 1 would be take it back down to the 15-minute low, and target 2 would be to take out the 4-hour low over here to the left, and then continue pushing down and working its way down into that daily demand zone at 175,831, which we spoke about. And where is this all deriving from? As we spoke yesterday, from the weekly supply zone. You know, we are in a major higher time frame. When you look at the monthly chart as well, price has just tapped into this. Look at that aggressive sell-off we had. So you really think this is a monthly zone? From this point, we sold off 6,400 pips. So do you really think price is just gonna just react to it and blast through it? No, it's not. No, it's absolutely not. But I don't think we're gonna have a major sell-off here. I think we'll get like a daily pullback, and then I see price continuing higher. Why? Because if you come further back to the left here on a monthly chart, you could see the last point we had a breaker structure was from this high down to this low. Now I'm just gonna mark this here. So we had our low point here. So if we now mark up our fib from this high to this low, look what sits here. That extreme supply up at 180, up at 212. Can price get there? Absolutely. But can we get some downside pressure from here? Absolutely. You know, we could internally, we can see we shifted bullish. Internal high, higher low. What are we looking to do? We're looking to create a new higher high to break above this swing to fulfill that monthly pullback, fill out that imbalance and tap into this. So the logic and the thought process is the same regardless of the time frame we look at. But most people disregard those time frames, and they don't really look that far, because They don't really care what happened. This is in 2008, but this is going to become very significant and relevant at some point. You know, this was from 2015. This wasn't significant at that point in time, but guess what? It is now. And if we look at the same thing here, when did these lows form? 2011. 2015 was the high. When did the pullback happen? 2016. So it took an entire year for price to sell off here. But guess what? Look where price came into that discounted zone, mitigated demand, and then away we went off. So we could definitely expect some downside from this point as a pullback. We had a daily break. We have our daily low here. We have our daily high here. So we could see some deeper pullback before the next push to the top side. But for now, we're not even looking that far ahead. We're just looking at the current demand zone, which is down here. So that if that's everything we've spoken about, then of course the likelihood of price heading back towards 176, 175 is absolutely possible. So if the overarching move is to a downside, then why, if price gets into this supply zone, will we not look to take it down to these lows and then break these lows? Of course we would. So all of those time frames give you the confidence and the ability to start trading. So for people that just come in and be like, oh, we're bearish, and just start shorting within any one of these kind of regions and stuff, is you know, it's not the way to do it. For sure, it's not the way to do it. So that's what I would look at. I'm not aggressively going to buy here because internally we are still bearish. You know, you could see here, this is very messy price action here. But once we come here, we create a low, lower high, lower low. So now we break above this in this area of value and pull back. Then we can start look for highs, because what's price done? When price originally pulled back here, if we were going to continue bearish, we should really be expecting the internal structure to remain bearish until it breaks this low. So super important to, and if the internal structure shifts bullish, then that's our early indication to say price is now entering a potential retracement on the M15. But again, I'm not just gonna buy here for the sake of buying here. No, because price could just come down and break this low and not decide to pull back on the M15 yet. So we have to be super careful when we look at these things. Hey Shogun, long time mate, hope you are well. Hope you are well. I see you in Discord, but not heard from you much. Hope things are good. Hope you're killing the markets. Hope life is treating you well. Now again, as nice as this looks, oh, price is bouncing off of here. It did the same here, and then look what it did. It broke it. So have to be super patient and super mindful, because price from here could come, react to this, and then sell off again. So have to be very, very careful when we look at these things. Yeah, you've definitely been quiet. I've seen you in Discord. I've seen you online in Discord, but just not really seen. Yeah, tell me about it, man. Life has its trials and tribulations, but good to hear from you. You still trading? Remember, guys, if there's any pairs you want me to have a look at, just drop them in chat. I'll happily look at them. Let's move on to GU. Let's see what GU is doing. So GU, like I said, for me personally, I'll be looking for shorts back from 1.30800. Here's a quick and short answer. We swept the Asian range low, and I could definitely see us reacting from this demand zone and pulling back to the top side. USD CAD's in a interesting demand zone. Turn this up. Yeah, USD CAD can't really get involved with this as of yet. I'd need to see some structure breaks of at least this high. Again, you know, you could, it's personal choice, decide to get an aggressive here, but remember, higher time frame is still bullish. And if we look at the last 4 hour structure, sorry, still bearish. There's the low and there's the low and there's the high, and we have at least pulled into the 50% retracement area, so price could decide to sell off. Yes, we do have a 4 hour supply here and we have this huge gap, so there is potential we could definitely trade up into that area. But because the overarching market structure is bearish, I would first want to see, can we mitigate this 50% of this demand zone? And here you could see, here we had this pullback and then we had price coming down, but this low never took out this previous low. So when we had this retracement and this break here, this pullback is internal because this was the highest point that caused that low to break. So I would need for price to either come back here, create a new low and then shift bullish for me to get involved, or for price to just come up and break above this, pull back, and then start to trade this back up. You know, I would like to just trade this with confirmation, but we are in a strong zone of reversal to continue pushing higher. Now I would say at least into this area of supply first at 1.32623, or we could see price head even higher up to 1.33563. But again, confirmation entry only for me. US 30 indices are just on a rampage. There's just, I've not traded indices in a long time. I just cannot get involved with where price is. So we are testing this supply again. Tapped into it once, pulled back. We're within that zone again. You know, do you see some sell-off? So we could see some downside from here. It is a strong area of supply. But with the way indices are right now, it's just, yeah. So if we do break this area of supply, then we could look at price heading back down to 34,570 to fill out this range and this imbalance. But in order for me to get like bearish on this pair, like in terms of a deeper pullback, I would definitely need to see this low taken, because currently that's the structure we have. So till that point, not much on indices for me to look at, in all fairness. Come on, gold. Can you just come down? Either go up, stop me at a break even, or come down, give me some partial profits here, and then let the rest continue. AUDCHF looks good with some strong bullish AUD news. This demand zone looks nice, guys. You know, you can see from 4-hour time frame. Where did I enter gold? I entered gold up at 1983 327. I explained it. It's a high risk trade that I took, and I moved my stops to break even. But that's where I entered with a view of price completing the pullback back down into this area of demand. But I understand we could probably have a deeper retracement before we come down. But the clean supply zone that I could see was this region here, and I saw this area as a liquidity grab. So hence why I kind of took the trade in the area where I took it and moved my stops. So if this comes and stops me out, the next trade on gold I will only look at is buyers down at like 1973, 1974 region. That's the main trade on gold that I'll be looking at. So yeah, AUDCHF looks pretty good, guys. In terms of buyers, we could see we had, so AUDCHF, again, going to higher time frame. Higher time frame, we are in this area of demand, as you can see, in that discounted zone. After this huge rally we had, this was the retracement. So I'm expecting upside from here. On a daily, the last daily break we had was here, and then we kind of just continued to sell off, and you could see we just haven't had a deep pullback on the daily. But current 4-hour, we have our high here, we have our low here. The last internal pullback we had was here to here. So now going down onto the lower time frame, we could see we've had some nice strong bullish momentum kicking in here. Have some areas of supply at 0.58900, which again, if we look at the current structure, which was this high to the low, it sits within that region. So if we can get pullbacks, if price starts to pull back from here, this demand looks really good where we had this aggressive push to the top side from. So if we can get pullbacks into this region here, it looks like a nice area to buy from. And again, we are in that extreme higher time frame discounted zone, so makes sense. And you could see we had this area of supply here where price originally reacted from, but short-lived, and then we broke through and we broke this supply zone here. So yeah, we could see some nice bullish momentum coming in, so I'll be waiting for this area. Add an alert. So where is it? 58191. 58191. Ah, gold. Let's see what GJ is doing. Is it bouncing off of that zone? It looks like it is. Looks like it is. Remember guys, what I'm personally looking for, can we get a break above this and then a pullback to look to buy this. GBP AUD, I was gutted. I had this supply zone marked up here to short from, and price just missed it by a fraction, virtually like 14 pips. It missed that zone. But again, for now, what do we have? We have our current 4-hour range. So if and when price gets down into demand at like 1.87, I'll be looking to shift my bias onto buyers again. So I can't look to short this now, unless from this point price comes into like an area of supply, then we could, but there's not much happening with this. Just going to delete this. Price has broken through this, so okay. Oil. Right, everyone, nice 45-minute stream. Hopefully you enjoyed. If there's anything you missed, you can go back to the beginning and kind of watch it again. But thanks for joining. Have a good day. Trade safe. We have some news later, and I'll catch up with you guys soon. Take it easy, everyone. Bye.